Peace, family. Normally when I do my videos, I try to leave my emotions out of it, but all the passion in it. But right now, I'm heated. And why? Because I just had a conversation with this individual, and he called himself a so-called socialism expert. And why is that? Because he says that he been to Somalia. As if that makes a difference. That just makes him an expert. And see, when you mention Somalia, that's the same country that Donald Trump been railing on for the last couple of weeks. So I already know what his position is. And then on top of that, he says that he's 100% behind Donald Trump. And there's nothing I can say that can convince him otherwise. And I said, and that's your problem right there. That a person that can file personal bankruptcy 6 times, bankrupt several businesses, including a casino, a person that was convicted of stealing from a childhood cancer organization. Donald Trump is not even allowed to have a charity in the state of New York. This is the person that you are 100% behind. And see, when you have people that this easily and completely corrupted because they support Donald Trump, that is a major issue. This country is at a crossroad. When you have political interests focusing on affordability, that's the beacon for these so-called capitalists, these so-called millionaires and billionaires. They come down from their ivory tower and immediately start singing the praises of capitalism and then want to downgrade socialism. We need to find a definition of the two. And either decide we're going to continue along this capitalistic route or give an alternative to, because I don't care what you call it. Whatever economic structure that's governing this country, if it has 50% of the population either at or near or below the poverty level, things need to change. Period. But see, when it comes to affordability, when it comes to your education, your health, your quality of life, your cost of living, all these things in a socialist society are decided by the people. Then they put people in charge, which is called the government, to certify this agreement and coordinate the efforts to protect the needs and interests of the people. So in essence, the government's supposed to work for the people. Up under a capitalistic society, when it comes to these same essential needs, you have individuals that either have great influence or great wealth decide on how these things are to be distributed to the people. Their own individual interpretation of it. These capitalists, they don't believe in government. They don't believe in the collective mindset. So they'll come down and try to break up this by casting a negative stereotype on socialism. So the number one rule, the number one job of a capitalist is to separate the people from their protection. If they can put a wedge in between the people and the government, then that opens up the opportunity for them to implement their agenda. Because see, it makes no sense for these millionaires and billionaires to come down and have any position on politics. Because whether it's a Democrat in office or Republican, they're rich. So whatever atmosphere this country is up under, they've done well by it. They are here to keep people poor. So while we sitting up here arguing about how much it costs to rent a home or the cost to buy a home, these millionaires and billionaires, they already have their home bought and paid for. When we're arguing about the cost of groceries, these millionaires and billionaires don't even go into a grocery store. When you're sitting up here talking about something you haven't been on vacation in 2-3 years, these millionaires and billionaires, they so rich, they can drive a home to their vacation. And they do that several times a year. So what is their true agenda for coming down here to tell the people how to decide in the first place? And if they was really for the people, wouldn't you think that they would take these books, these lectures, these programs, and as opposed to selling it to each individual, sell it to the government so they can implement it federally? Make what you preach in law so that everybody can benefit from it. And that would so-called eliminate the poor, but they would never do that. They would never do that. You know, and when I asked this guy, I said, so if you had the chance to choose between two societies to live in, one where the people decided their rights, freedoms, and liberties, and they selected a government to coordinate their efforts so they can prosper through life, and the government looked out for these people. Or do you want to live in another society where you had these same rights, freedoms, and privileges determined by individual ideology, where the rights, freedoms, and privileges constantly infringed upon other people? Which one would you rather live in? And immediately he says, the capitalistic society. See, this is the danger of the moment that we're living in right now. Because no matter what you say, no matter how you say it, you are not going to change some of these people's minds. And see, with that being said, I'm going to say this. This is a wonderful time to be alive. I think that's going to be one of my themes from now on. I don't care how bad society is. I don't care how corrupt the president is. I don't care how much the cost of living is. This is a wonderful time to be alive. And you know why? Because we have history to look back on. We can look back and see the decisions that was made, the process that these decisions took place, and we can see the results of them. And we can see going forward from this point forward, do we want to continue along this path, or do you want to go a different course? Because see, one of the things is this: when these capitalists, when these entrepreneurs, when these millionaires and billionaires come down from their ivory tower and call themselves preaching to the people about the beauty of capitalism, they fail to mention the $38 trillion that this country is in debt up under a capitalistic society. They don't mention that. And what else they don't mention is that while these capitalists capitalize on this system, while the vast majority of the wealth is contained in the 1% of the population that they don't share with the people, but the national debt, what this country is owed, that they do share. And this is $200,000-$300,000 per person. How many people in this system don't have $300,000 to pay for this national debt? But see, these John Hope Bryants and these other clowns that come down preaching this capitalist nonsense, pushing these books, doing all these speeches, they don't mention that part. So when this government come knocking at your door to pay your portion of a debt that you had no right, with no responsibility to creating, will you have it? And you know, and speaking of this clown, John Hope, let me in this video by saying this. He's preaching about artificial intelligence, telling everybody to get on board with it. And if you don't get on board with it, then you're going to be left behind. Tell me up under what system does it make sense that a government that you pay for can implement a strategy or some type of advancement in technology that if the people don't sign on to it, the government is going to leave the people behind, as opposed to a system that's failing the people and the people leave this system of government behind. This makes absolutely no sense. But I'm in this video here, and as always, these are my thoughts, my opinions. I invite you to leave yours in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Ashe.